This pine was never meant to be shaped. It grew where soil is thin, where wind never rests, and where growth is measured in decades, not seasons. Long before it became a bonsai, this tree had already been designed. By pressure, by cold, and by time. What you are looking at is not a style. It is a record. In this video, we are not going to talk about techniques. We won't discuss wiring, pruning, or refinement. Instead, we'll look at why limber pine matters in the world of bonsai, and why it occupies a quiet but serious place among American collectors. We'll start where the tree begins, its habitat, the conditions that shape it, and the reasons this form cannot be recreated in cultivation. Because to understand this bonsai, you have to understand the environment that made it possible. This is not a video to watch casually. It's an invitation to slow down, and to look at bonsai not as an object of control, but as evidence of survival. If you stay, we'll follow this tree back to the conditions that shaped it, long before any human hands were involved. Because not everything meaningful is meant to be designed. To understand why this pine looks the way it does, we have to leave the pot behind for a moment. Limber pine does not grow in forgiving places. It lives across high ridges and exposed slopes, where soil is shallow, moisture is inconsistent, and wind applies pressure every single year. These conditions are not background details. They are the primary forces shaping the tree. At higher elevations, limber pine grows slowly, not because the species lacks vigor, but because the environment limits every decision it can make. Short growing seasons reduce extension. Thin soils restrict root spread. Constant wind redirects growth away from symmetry. Over time, this pressure produces irregular movement, compressed internodes, and asymmetry that feels deliberate, even though it isn't. In some locations, these pines never grow upright at all. They lean, twist, or sprawl along the ground, responding year after year to the same constraints. This is why limber pine cannot be recreated through cultivation alone. You can grow a pine in better soil. You can protect it from wind. You can accelerate its growth. But when you remove constraint, you also remove the forces that fix character. What remains is a pine, but not this pine. Some forms only exist where survival is uncertain. Understanding these conditions explains how limber pine takes its form. What it doesn't explain is why that form cannot be reproduced, even with skill, time, and intention. At this point, it's tempting to think that what makes this pine special is simply age or appearance. But that assumption misses the point. The real difference between this tree and a cultivated pine is not how it looks, it's how its form was decided. In cultivation, conditions are optimized. Soil is deeper. Water is consistent. Wind is reduced. Growth is encouraged. These choices produce healthy trees, but they also remove the forces that interrupt growth, redirect movement, and fix irregularity over time. Without interruption, growth follows efficiency, and efficiency tends toward straightness. Technique can imitate movement. It can bend a branch, slow extension, or suggest age. What it cannot replace is repeated decision-making under stress, year after year, without relief. This is not a failure of skill. It's a limit of control. This is why limber pine occupies a specific place in bonsai. It isn't sought after for refinement. It isn't valued for perfection. It's valued because its form records conditions that no workshop can reproduce. If this tree is lost, the form is lost with it. Control can create form. Pressure creates meaning. And meaning is what collectors recognize long before refinement. Understanding why this pine cannot be replicated brings us to the next question. Why some collectors seek exactly that limitation? Once replication is no longer possible, value shifts. In this part of bonsai, collectors are not searching for perfection. They're searching for limitation. Forms that exist only because replacement is not an option. For serious collectors, rarity isn't about how few trees exist. It's about how few can ever exist again. A limber pine like this represents a specific intersection of elevation, exposure, time, and survival. Remove any one of those factors, and the form disappears. That fragility is not a weakness. It's the source of its value. In this context, the role of the bonsai artist changes. The artist is no longer a designer. They become a caretaker of conditions, responsible for keeping the tree alive, without erasing the evidence of how it survived. Skill still matters, but restraint matters more. With trees like this, every intervention carries risk. Growth is slow. Recovery is slower. There is no surplus material waiting to replace what's lost. This is why these trees move quietly through collections, rarely shown, rarely explained, but deeply respected. Restraint is not the absence of skill. It is the decision to preserve what cannot be replaced. When restraint succeeds, time becomes visible. At a distance, this bonsai reads as a form, but up close, it reads as time. Every surface carries information about pressure, exposure, and duration. The bark thickens slowly, not to impress, but to protect. Deadwood appears where growth could not continue. These are not decorative features. They are records of decisions made under stress, repeated across decades. In bonsai, time is often simulated. Here, it isn't. What you're seeing is centuries of environmental pressure, compressed into a single, stable form. Not accelerated, not exaggerated, simply held. Even the empty spaces matter. Gaps between branches aren't signs of absence. They're the result of limitation, growth that stopped because conditions demanded it. In this context, emptiness becomes structure. What we often call beauty is simply endurance, remembered in form. And when time becomes visible, the question is no longer how this tree was made, but why it should be preserved. By now, this tree should feel different, not because it's rare, or old, or difficult to work with, but because you've seen how much of it exists beyond human decision. This bonsai is not a result. It is a remainder. What's left after centuries of pressure decided what could stay. This is why limber pine matters in bonsai, not as a design to be admired, but as a condition to be understood. Its value doesn't begin with ownership. It begins with recognition that some forms cannot be improved, only preserved. Value begins where replacement ends. If this way of looking at bonsai resonates with you, this channel is built around the same perspective. We explore trees as ecological records, not design exercises, focusing on native species, rare forms, and the conditions that shaped them long before they became bonsai. You're welcome to stay, follow the series, and continue the conversation.